My name's Eric Welander and welcome to Windy Tech, a channel all about smart home tech in the Apple ecosystem. Today we're going to talk about Lutron's new smart fan control, and is it the best way to make your ceiling fan smart? So back at CES this year, Lutron announced that they were doing a smart fan control, and it recently came out. So until this point, if you wanted to make your ceiling fan smart, you probably need to get one of these other Lutron switches, which is just a basic light switch. And they also say on the box, you can see here, that it's rated for not only lights, but also for fans. But all that would do was just turn your fan on or off. Now, you could alternatively install a smart fan itself, so replace your actual ceiling fan with a smart one from a company like Hunter. The downside of this is that you're very limited with the types of styles of fans you have. It's really only a certain number of companies and a limited set of models. One other notable difference between this kind of a fan control and actually getting a smart fan is that you can't control the direction that the fan turns. Some of these newer smart fans, you're able to set the direction manually depending on what kind of airflow you're trying to go for. That's not the case with this kind of a fan control. It's just going to turn in the same direction each time. Now, what comes in the box? It's pretty much your standard smart switch stuff. From Lutron. You get the switch itself, of course, as well as some wire nuts and screws for installation. Mine happened to come with two different manuals that looked about the same, just slightly different design. I think that was probably just an early run of the product that maybe two manuals had slipped in there. So if you're new to Lutron and the Lutron Caseta wireless system, you'll also need to have a Lutron hub. If you've used switches before from them, you probably already have that on your network, but if not, you need to get it. I'd recommend getting one of their bundled kits that comes with a dimmer switch and the hub. Make one of your other lights smart along with this fan control, but that might be a barrier entry to some of you. So from there, installation, if you've done any other kind of smart switch installs, is very straightforward. Again, shut off the breaker before you get started. One interesting piece compared to other Lutron switches is that the load wire is actually attached to the switch via a screw. So I ended up putting some electrical tape over that to make sure that that would be covered. Now, in my case, I was replacing a dual switch where there was also a switch that controlled the lights on the fan. What I did in my case was just close off that lighting circuit, and we'll talk a little bit more about how I made the lights in the fan smart in just a minute. And if you want multiple locations to control the same fan, you can get a Pico remote that goes along with this fan control. Again, Lutron has this whole Pico remote system where you can get remotes that can talk to any other light switch or even like your Sonos system or other stuff. But so along with this new fan control, they have a Pico remote with the fan decals and the proper fan controls, so you can simply wall mount that or put it on a little pedestal on your table or whatever if you want more controls for your fan. Once you have the switch installed, you want to go ahead and set the ceiling fan speed controls to whatever you want the highest setting to be. And then once you've done that, go ahead and add the fan switch to your Lutron setup using the Lutron app on your smartphone. If you're using an iPhone, then it will also automatically add that fan to HomeKit. One of the key advantages I didn't mention earlier, if you get a complete smart fan, is that then the lights in the fan, if it comes with lights, are also smart. Now, in this case, we're making a dumb fan smart, so the controls for this only control the fan, not any lights. I would love to see Lutron down the road. They have this beautiful looking switch called in their Maestro series where they have half of it is a fan control and the other half is a light control. It's not smart, but I would love to see them make a Caseta wireless version of that where you have both in one switch box. For now though, we're stuck with just the fan. So what I did, as I mentioned earlier, is close off my light circuit so that it's just always on. And then I plugged in some Philips Hue light bulbs to the fan. Now, I do have a switch for the light on the fan, so if I wanted to change the light bulbs or anything like that, I can just turn the lights all off at the fan itself. And then I'm using a Philips Hue dimmer switch installed right next to my Lutron fan control. And this allows anyone to have physical on-the-wall controls both for the lights and the fan. The advantage of these Philips Hue dimmer switches, of course, is that they don't need a switch box. They can just be mounted to the wall anywhere. So I was able to mount it nearby my fan switch. So what's it like to control this fan and what can you do with it? Now, for those who have used the Lutron dimmer switches and other switches, this control setup should look very familiar. You have the off on the bottom and on in the top, but instead of the dimmer switches levels, you have 4 unique levels for the fan speed, and you can adjust between them using the up and down arrows. There's also then a center button in between those up and down arrows, and this allows you to quickly resume your favorite fan setting. Out of the box, this is the second one up from the bottom, but you can set it to whatever you want by simply adjusting the switch to that setting and then holding the circle down until you see all 4 lights on the side of the switch flash twice. Then you know that it's saved that as your favorite setting. With HomeKit, it's just like you'd expect. It's very similar to like a dimmer switch where you can press and hold on it and then adjust the percentage speed. It will round to the 4 notches of controls. So you have 0, 25, 50, 75, and 100% for the speed. And then you're able to quickly tap to turn it on and off, and also add it to any other kinds of scenes or other automation you might want to have the fan connected to. Using it with Siri is also as to be expected. You can ask Siri to turn the fan on or off, and then also adjust to certain percentages. Now, with Alexa and Google Assistant, the speed controls are a little different. What you'll want to do is express it in low, medium, medium high, and high. It doesn't understand it when you say percentages, at least at the time of filming this video. Now, if you also say those kinds of settings to Siri, Siri will try and do its best to sort of equate those like settings like medium to a setting on the fan that makes sense with percentages. So you can still use those same words to Siri. However, if you use the term medium high at the time of filming this video, it seems like Siri doesn't really understand what you're saying and just goes to the medium setting, which is the second from the bottom. One other thing to note is that whenever you just simply ask for the fan to turn on in any of these systems, it seems to jump to 100%. Now for me, I like my 100% speed on the fan to be almost like a cyclone, just like really fast. So that might not be the best setting to jump to, and maybe I'll adjust that so my max speed is a little slower on the fan later on. But keep that in mind, is that if you're commanding this with your voice, you'll probably want to specify a speed setting. I guess the real question is this the best way for you to set up your smart fans in your home? I would say generally 99% of the time, this is the best option to go with. I think the Lutron system overall is really solid, and this is a great extension of it beyond lighting into smart home fan controls. And it just overall is a really reliable, great product and allows you to turn existing ceiling fans into a smart fan. The only other thing, of course, is if for some reason you don't have a neutral wire in your switch box, maybe in an older home or something, then you might need to look at some other creative options because both this control as well as the older or just more generic Lutron light switch, both of those require a neutral wire for controlling a fan. So have you set up smart fans in your home using this control or something else? Are you thinking about it? What kind of other questions you have that maybe this video didn't answer that you'd like to hear in more detail? Let me know in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up. It really helps other people find it. And subscribe to this channel if you aren't already. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.